Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play ChäoS Child. In the last episode, Takuru and the newspaper club were prepared to call the case closed on the second New Generation madness in the wake of Senri Minamisawa's apparent death/suicide. But once again, things took an unexpected turn when Ito discovered that certain information had made itself available on @channel. Information that was being held by the police but not yet released to the public or the media. Now on top of that, this information links Kurusu to Senri as well as Kawahawa, and unfortunately even had the address of the Aoba dorm/clinic and the phone number as well, which resulted in an absolute uproar from the masses on social media at that channel. So, fearing for Kurusu's safety and that of everyone else, Takuru headed over to Aoba dorm. And Takuru was able to comfort Kurusu, as well as along with everyone else pitching in. Takuru got a phone call from Detective Shinjo, who has even more unsettling information about recent events, because as it turns out, the person who Takuru and everyone else, including myself for that matter, believed to be Senri Minamisawa wasn't actually Senri Minamisawa. It was a person that looked just like her, but whose real name was none other than Riko Haida, a introverted young woman living alone at a condo apartment, and who just happened to be a pyrokinetic gigolomaniac. Now, there is the fact that she had Senri's ID, and the fact that she had tracked us down and was definitely after Takuru and the others on account of them being gigolomaniacs. And yet this revelation means that all this was nothing more than an elaborate ruse of sorts by the real perpetuators of the second New Generation madness. Because as it turns out, despite the fact that Takuru and the others supposedly fought against Riko until the 24th, she had actually been dead long before that point, in the early hours of the 23rd, right on schedule with the original New Generation Madness timeline. In other words, what happened at both Cafe LAX and at Aoba dorm that evening were in fact both delusions, not just the former, but the latter as well. And yeah, just when you thought it was all over, it just keeps going. But well, silver lining to all this, yeah, we can now tell Kurusu the news. But this also goes to show that we were pretty much premature to try and close the lid on this case at this point. And speaking of this point, tonight is the 28th, 5 days later, which means that on top of Riko's death, there is going to be a 6th victim. Yeah. All the comparisons are there, going through the original and the yeah. Today was October 28th. If the murders weren't over.
気をつけろ、宮代君。
Yeah. Because Shinjo has actually made the following the following information that each of the victims, including Riko herself, were being controlled and manipulated by the powers of another Gigalomaniac, hence the swelling of their brains, probably as a side effect of having this power being inflicted upon them. In other words, Riko Haida's actions were never her own, even until her death. I felt like every hair on my body was standing up on end. Yeah, another case of good news, bad news. I imagined a hand reaching out from somewhere and putting a cold blade to my neck.
Shinjo-san, 僕たちどうしたら
I think the question is, what can we do?
とにかく一人になるな。君のところに今後輩を向かわせてる。俺は有村さんの家へ行って彼女を保護する。その足で君らのところへ向かうから。いいね。
Yeah, we've already been careless too many times throughout this case. We cannot afford to drop the ball. Not here, not now. And yeah, whoever's behind this is deliberately flooding our channel with that leaked information, because not a mention of Rico's actual identity has actually made it out on social media.
はい、お願いします。
I hung up, jammed the phone in my pocket, then ran out of the room. Had to step away for just a moment there, but I have returned. My legs were trembling and I almost tripped several times. Yeah, we need to warn everyone about this new development. When I got to the dining room, Kurusu and Sarika were folding everyone's laundry.
何かしていないとつい悪いことばかり考えてしまって。
Kurusu forced herself to smile as she looked at me. I think we have bigger problems than internet doxing right about now, as terrible as that is. But she must have seen the look on my face, because her smile faded instantly. Yeah, we need to bring everyone up to speed.
どうかしたの？
Oh, you wouldn't believe, but you're about to believe.
タク？
Yeah. Case is not done yet, ladies and gentlemen.
ユイたちはどうした
I couldn't see Yui, Yuto, or Uki.
ウキちゃんと一緒に佐久間先生のお手伝い。今日はもう委員を閉めるんでお掃除をしに下へ行ったよ。
そっか。
Dad had probably figured that with all the media outside, he wouldn't get any work done today, so he must have decided to close up early. Definitely for the best. Because, I looked out the curtain and saw that the street was filled with vans. None of them showed any sign of leaving. If only we had the media. If only the media were the only things we had to worry about. But they're the least of our worries right now. But whether this was fair or not, even though I hated them a moment ago, I now felt glad they were there. With this many people, no matter who they were, the killer wouldn't be able to get at us easily. Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that. I went to close the curtain and saw that there was some kind of commotion going on outside.
Huh?
Like I said, Takuru. The window glass was too thick for me to hear, but something must have happened while I was on the phone.
尾上、クルスのこと頼む。何があっても絶対にそばを離れないでやってくれ。絶対にだぞ。
Yeah. We might have had time to explain before, but now we don't. At least
ね
not
え、タク
yet.
ル、何かあったのなら教えて。
There's
後
no
でちゃん
time
と
for
話すから。
that.
とにかく任せたぞ、尾上。
Yeah.
オッケー。
Because what's ever happening outside doesn't bode well. These two weren't psychic, so they were probably safe, but it would be best to be sure. I ran down the stairs to the clinic. Yeah, we need to see how everyone else is doing. I could see Uki and Yuto cleaning up the equipment in the exam room.
父さんとユイは。
父さん、外でマスコミの人と喧嘩してる。
喧嘩？
That's not good.
はい。医院の窓から中を隠し撮りしようとした人がいたんです。それで佐久間先生が怒って外へ。
Oh, of all the times. Of all the... I listened carefully, and sure enough, I could hear Dad arguing with what sounded like a reporter.
ユイも父さんと一緒なのか？
お姉ちゃん？
Yuto and Uki looked confused.
お姉ちゃんならさっきタクル兄ちゃんのところへ行ったでしょ？
I'm feeling that pall of doom again. I don't like it when I feel the pall of doom creeping down my spine.
何？
Yui went to find me? Yeah, right.
いや、来てないぞ。
でも確かに寮へ上がっていきました。
そんなバカな。
Yeah, and we didn't miss each other. I turned around and ran back up the stairs to the dorm. Oh, we let our guard down. Again.
ユイ！どこだ、ユイ！
But I couldn't find her, no matter where I looked. She wasn't in her room or the bath or the toilet. I looked everywhere. After I looked everywhere I could, I finally decided to take the dorm's emergency exit, and shivered as I saw that the inside latch was undone.
いつもきちんと鍵がかかってるはずなのに。
But not tonight. Did she go outside? Why? Don't think we're gonna like the answer to that. I could feel my heart pounding with terror as I ran back into the clinic.
やっぱりどこにもいない。
God damn it.
そんなはずないよ。さっき伊藤さんが来て。
伊藤？
はい。それでゆいさんは伊藤さんと上へ行ったんです。
But Shinji isn't here.
伊藤と一緒なんだな。ユイ一人じゃなくて。
はい。
そうか。
I breathed a small sigh of relief. Bit too early for that, I'm afraid. If it was just Yui, she might have been in danger, but if she wasn't alone, it wouldn't be as easy for someone to attack her. You're underestimating the gravity of Gigalomaniac powers.
とにかく伊藤に電話してみる。
As I took out my phone, Serika and Kurisu came into the room. They were worried. As they should be. They looked even more worried when I told them that Ito and Yui had vanished.
ゆいと伊藤くんがどこ行っちゃったんだろ
もしもし、伊藤が。
Yeah, to answer your questions, Yuto and Uki believe that the two of them went upstairs, but as we all know, that's not what happened.
ああ、宮代。
お前どこにいるんだ。
どこってコンビニから帰るところだよ。買い出ししてきたんだ。
Ito's voice was the same as ever. Shouldn't he be here?
ユイは一緒なのか。
そばにいるけど。
そうか。
I felt relieved, but screamed into the phone anyway.
お前な、コンビニに行くなら誰かに断ってからにしろよ。ユイまで連れ出してみんな心配してんだぞ。
確かにそうだったな。悪い悪い。
I'm acting awfully cavalier about this Shinji, but then again, he believes that the case is over.
とにかく急いで戻ってきてくれ。ユイが危険かもしれないんだ。
それなら大丈夫だろう。ゆいちゃんに何かあったら、俺が手術して治してやるからさ。
That's peculiar. That doesn't sound like the Shinji Ito we know.
あ？
My mouth hung open for a second. An operation. What the hell was he talking about?
Huh?
And then I realized that I could hear muffled moans next to him.
おい、伊藤、今のユイの声じゃないのか。何やってんだ。
Oh no.
あのさ、俺、いつか佐久間先生みたいな医者になろうと思ってたんだよな。知ってたか？
The hell are you talking about?
だから何してんだよお前。
やっぱコンビニで買ったナイフじゃ切れ味が悪いな。確かに痛いだろう、これじゃ。
Something truly bizarre is happening here.
おい、伊藤、何冗談言ってんだ。ユイを電話に出せ。おい。
宮代、お前さ、急いで持ってきてくれないか？ちゃんと切れるメスと麻酔薬。あと、骨を切るノコギリみたいなのなかったっけ？これじゃあ、ゆいちゃんがかわいそうだ。
Yeah, this is messed up. Beyond messed up. He hung up.
ユイ、どうしたんだユイ。
I pushed the call button again and again with shaking fingers, but he must have turned off his phone because he didn't pick up.
なんだよ。どうして伊藤が。
Why indeed? My mouth couldn't keep up with this. It was too much to believe.
タクル、ユイがどうかしたの？
Do you want the bad news? Or the bad news? Because there is no good news.
なんか悲鳴みたいなの聞こえたけど。
Yeah, that was Yui, alright.
タクル兄ちゃん。
I suddenly felt like I was about to throw up. Yeah, the situation just got much worse, and gonna go out on a limb here and say that possibly Ito might be under the influence of the real second new generation perpetrators. And I truly hope that this is the case, because if not, we may have we already have problems, but we have even more problems now. I shoved my face into the sink and tossed up everything I had in my stomach. It was like I was vomiting up hate, fear, and despair, and no matter how much I tried, it wouldn't stop.
大丈夫、タクル。
When I'd thrown up so much that there wasn't even any stomach fluid left, I turned around to see Kurusu behind me.
クルス、電話だ。新庄さんにとにかく電話してくれ。
え？
このままじゃユイが殺される。
Wait, what was that? Yeah. All right, never mind then. We need to find Yui and Shinji pronto. I let Kurusu handle getting in touch with Shinjo and ran out the emergency exit to the dorm.
ユイ、どこだ？何でもいいから声を出せ、ユイ！
My voice echoed down the rows of houses. Some nearby reporters ran over.
どうしたの君？
何かあったのかい？
There's no time for interviews, gentlemen.
ここから誰か出て行きませんでしたか？
え？
僕くらいの男と、あともう少し若い女の子です。知りませんか？
あの二人かな。インタビューしようとしたら無視されたけど。
どっちへ行きました？
確かあっちだと思うけど。
I ran in the direction he pointed to without stopping or looking behind me.
あの君！
We don't have time for this. I could hear them asking what happened, but I didn't have time to tell them. Yeah, we need to find Yui and fast.
ユイ、伊藤、どこだ？
Well, Ito mentioned a convenience store, but then that could be a trap. I ran, screaming the names of my little sister and best friend. It hurt to breathe, but I couldn't stop running. My only thoughts as I ran were of Yui's safety and Ito's strange behavior.
伊藤、お前なんで？どうして？
His tone had been the same as ever. It was the exact tone he used when he was laughing about the latest weird school gossip. So why would he do that to Yui? Had to be some kind of mistake. Well, here's hoping it is, because Ito wouldn't.
いや待て待て。
もし他に犯人がいるなら23日だって南沢千里に代わってそいつが事件を起こしたはずだろ。けど実際は何も起こらなかったってことはこの可能性は消えたってことじゃないのかな。
Now that I think about it, that was odd.
もうやめようぜ。なんつうかさ、副部長が辛いと思うんだ俺。
僕が別の能力者の可能性を完全に排除してしまったのはあの時だ。
Yeah,
伊藤はクル
another
スのことを引き合いに
accomplice.
出して僕に考える間も与えずに。重大なメモを剥がして捨てた。
Oh no. Say it ain't so,
じゃああれ
Shinji.
はわざと。
The more I thought about it, the more unbelievable it seemed. Can't be.
イエイ伊藤。
All that running and nothing. How long had I been running? My throat was dry and it stung. I was gasping for breath and in dire need of water. Sweat was dripping off of me, and I was so out of breath that I couldn't think.
ここどこだ。
Where indeed? You've been running pretty hard and pretty fast. I looked around and saw that I was in a residential area of Shibuya that the reconstruction teams hadn't gotten around to yet. There was still a lot of abandoned houses. Even during the day there was little foot traffic, and there were always rumors that at night you could see the vengeful ghosts of the people who died in the quake wandering beneath the streetlights. Now there's something very grim there. It wasn't that far from Aoba Dorm, which meant that during my search I must have circled back without knowing it. Just as I was about to turn around and head for Miyashita Park or Hekio Academy, I heard a faint sound. A tiny noise like tearing cloth. I thought I might have imagined it, but forced my aching legs to look forward to look in the alleyway where I'd heard it. And what is it we're about to find? The lights didn't reach into the alley, so I could see nothing but darkness. I could hear the sound of water going drip, drip, drip. Some house's pipe must have broken. Going into a dead-end alley is not the smartest idea, I might add. I took another step forward into the darkness, as if I was being drawn by the sound, which we are. Suddenly there were several sharp metallic clangs at my feet. I quickly jumped back, surprised. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw that they were paring knives. And all of them were stained dark with something, their blades bent or broken in places. Oh dear gods. This knife I bought at the convenience store doesn't really cut that well. That odd conversation with Ito. I felt something cold crawl up my back as I remembered Ito's words.
おい、ユイ、いるのか、ユイ。
Well, she had a gag when we heard her over the phone. I took another step forward. There was what felt like a puddle of water at my feet, and I heard a splash. That's probably not water. But there was no answer. I took another step forward. The splash got louder. And then I realized that the liquid was sticking to my shoe. I looked down and saw that my shoe was stained with the same dark red color as the knives. No, it isn't, Takuru. This isn't water. The wind must have changed course, because the moment I had that thought, I smelled something awful. I inhaled a full breath of the stench before I could cover my nose and mouth. Yeah, this is beyond our worst imaginings. And then I looked toward the source of the smell. And when my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could see it. Oh dear Christ. It was the unpleasant, but somehow seductive and sweet smell of meat. I could see small boxes laid out in the rough shape of a human body. It looked like some kind of grotesque homemade doll. Please no. The dark red liquid was flowing from the boxes. I suddenly felt an urge to throw up. How long did it take me to realize that I was staring at what was left of my little sister? Dark. Doesn't even begin to encompass. Because of that, it took me a little while to notice the man further down the alley, staring at the pool of blood. Yeah, this isn't real. This cannot be real. But if it's not a delusion, then... Oh dear word. He was holding the murder weapon in his hand. It was dripping with blood. You have a lot to answer for, Shinji Ito. But he isn't answering. Ito hopped over what used to be Yui and spoke to me in the same pleasant tone he always used. Blood on his face, and his eyes are very manic crimson. Something's not right here.
どうしてだって？それは俺の方の質問だよな。
Yeah, something peculiar
お前
is
さ、
definitely afoot.
なんであの時助けなかったんだ？
あの時
なんで見捨てたんだ？
捨てたって誰よ。
I'm confused now.
誰って。千にはあんなに苦しんでただろうが。
That event from the past. Why would Shinji be talking about that now? I thought that given what we'd uncovered about Riko Haida, that she was the girl in the apparatus and not Senri. But if this girl right here is in fact the real Senri Minamisawa... Senri Minamisawa. Why was he saying her name? Of course, this is the... you can see here the hair bows that we saw in Kurisu's photo. But Riko hadn't been wearing those hair bows. In fact, she wore her hair long and loosely. Why was Ito talking about Senri?
どうだ、自分の大切なものを失う気分は、自分の無力さを思い知りながら後悔に苛まれる気分は。
I felt nothing but confusion. What I was looking at didn't seem real. So I just stood there and stared at Ito's face, dumbstruck.
彼女は俺にとってかけがえのない存在だった。それをお前は見殺しにしたんだ。でもこれでようやく復讐も終わる。
伊藤、お前
The hell? What was the relationship between Senri Minamisawa and Ito? I don't know, because that was a long time ago. That was 2007. What happened between them? It didn't look like I'd have time to think about it. Ito's knife got steadily closer to me.
次は宮代の番だ。よく切れるメスと麻酔薬は持ってきたか？それがなきゃひどく痛くて苦しむぞ。ゆいちゃんみたいにな。
Ito smiled a murderer's smile. Oh, so that's how it's going to be. For some reason I lost the capacity to think clearly. That was the only thought that was left. I'm not going to even look like a person when he's done with me. Just like Yui. If this is not a delusion, then Yui truly is dead, and Ito, after all this time, the feeling overwhelmed me. All I could do was stare into Ito's bloodshot eyes, and wait for the moment of my death. And lo and behold, it's Kurusu. And then I heard what sounded like a scream from behind me. It was enough to drag me back to my senses. I looked back and saw Kurisu standing under the streetlight, her shoulders heaving up and down.
伊藤君、何をしているの？
Her eyes went wide at the knife in Ito's hand. Oh dear.
ダメだ。来るな。
He'll kill you too. Get away from here, Kurisu. I wanted to tell her to get away, but only meaningless noises came from my mouth. It was like my vocal cords had been paralyzed.
答えて、伊藤君。
Kurisu did the exact opposite of what I'd hoped she would. She ran into the alley, blocking my way out. Oh dear. If she looks past his shoulder, she is going to see something that she will never unsee ever again. Oh God. And at the same time, she noticed the boxes filled with body parts and the stinking pool of blood. She gasped.
これ、何？タクル。
We were hoping that it wouldn't come to this, but we failed.
ゆいは、どうしたの？
Should be obvious what happened to Yui.
ねえ、ゆいは？
But Takuru can't bring himself to say a word. I was finally able to speak, but I couldn't answer her question. It was pathetic, but tears started to well up in my eyes. I couldn't stop them. Ito answered for me, flipping the knife from one hand to another as he spoke.
ああ、ほら、気をつけなよ、副部長。その箱を一つでも踏み潰したら、ゆいちゃんを組み立てられなくなる。
No. Sorry is too trite of a word. We were too late. We thought we had averted the crisis of danger, and instead we ran smack back into the middle of it. But not in the way that we had imagined or intended. Kurisu jumped back and started to shake as she stared at the boxes.
嘘でしょ。
Unfortunately, it is. She sank to her knees and reached out to what used to be Yui, not caring that she'd be soaked with blood.
こんなの、嘘、絶対に、嘘。
And what happened to you, Shinji? She picked up something long and thin. It had a pretty nail on it, one that had never been manicured even though its owner was old enough to be interested in makeup. It was Yui's finger. How did we get to this point?
だから副部長、勝手に触らないでくれよ。ゆいちゃんが綺麗に見えるよう芸術的に詰めたんだから。
どうして
全部宮代が悪いんだよ。南沢千里を苦しめたから。その復讐さ。
We already knew this much, but this has all gone too far. But then that begs the question, given the state of Ito's eyes right now, is he truly acting under his own volition? Has he been lying to us this entire time? Or is there something else going on behind the scenes? In the next episode, adventurers, when we return, we should finally get some real answers. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.